The scene was dead anyway. A music scene lives, a music scene dies. The stories, however, are immortal. The scene was dead anyway is a look into the lives, communities and music scenes that helped shape an entire generation. Hello and welcome to The Scene Was Dead Anyway. I'm your host, Rick Walland. This is episode number 14, and today I'm joined by MUKA. In their own words, here at MUKA, we want to give visibility to all underground and DIY creatives in Manchester, from painters to writers and musicians to shopkeepers. We will do this by celebrating and documenting the work they do, where they do it and why they do it. Through articles, podcasts, playlists, radio shows and collaboration, we will showcase what Manchester's subcultures have to offer and provide it in an accessible format for all to enjoy. Before we start, if you're watching on YouTube, please could you like and subscribe to my channel to help the podcast grow. If you're listening on Apple iTunes, please could you leave a review under the ratings and review section. You can also find me on Facebook. It's facebook.com/The Scene Was Dead Anyway. You can also find me on Instagram. Instagram.com/The Scene Was Dead Anyway. I'm also on Twitter. Twitter.com/TSWDA. As MUKA is currently a team consisting of 8 people, I've been very lucky in that 4 of them are in the same room and join me on the podcast today, and they will introduce themselves individually early on in the podcast. So I hope you enjoy it, and thanks for listening and thanks for watching. So welcome to the show, guys. Thank you so much for coming on.
Hiya, thanks for having us.
We'll start with Evan. If you want to just introduce MUKA, what is MUKA? What's the philosophy, the thinking behind it, and when did you start MUKA?
I think MUKA has been it's been in my head since the start of last year. I sort of found myself in a place where I knew loads of people doing good stuff, but no one knew about each other, and no one really did anything about it. Everyone had these little cliques, and they were very happy just being in their clique, making stuff for their mates, talking to their mates, and only supplying their mates with entertainment, and they sort of didn't look outside of that little echo chamber for anything else. So there was hundreds of artists, musicians that just did stuff in their bedroom and didn't put it out, weren't necessarily confident about it, or were doing it for themselves. It wasn't to make money or to get noticed. And they were, in my opinion, better than the people that were making money out of it and who were popular. Yeah. So honestly, I just found myself surrounded, and I was like, someone needs to do something about it and tell the rest of the city about what is going on, whether it be people that make clothes, builders, writers, artists, musicians, XYZ, charities, the list goes on.
If you don't mind me chipping in, I think the first conversation we had that sparked the idea was when I was working with Lewis Breheny, who's in the band Gazelleband, who was one of the first interviews we really did. Was it the first? I think
it was the second 1/6 wave.
And we were saying, because they play Palestinian music for anyone who doesn't know, and I went to see them just because I knew him through school. And the music was incredible. And I was saying, oh, Evan, I wish you came. Hannah, Connor, like so many people would love it. But they just don't know about this stuff. It was at the university and it was in a really small room. And it's like, we could have packed this with just mates of ours. Yeah. But they just didn't know about it, just didn't know it existed. So we wanted to be that platform that shared literally everything and anything that's going on in Manchester.
So you wanted to kind of pool the resources into one kind of umbrella, I suppose.
Yeah, and to facilitate that like need cross boundaries as well.
Yeah,
between artists, between makers, between anybody that does anything, so they could look and see what else was going on.
I think we just wanted to bridge the gap that was really, really evident within the communities, especially because I think Manchester's growing so big now. I think people who have always been here and have always been doing stuff are very quickly being forgotten with new people coming to the city and making stuff. So I think, and people that are just in the suburbs. I think people that are in the suburbs, like, unfortunately, really do get forgotten unless they have a presence within the city centre. So I think telling the story of the surrounding areas and the people that are in those areas is really important as well. I think we were just in a lucky position where we sort of knew a couple of people that did that, and we were like, why don't more people know about that and support them?
Yeah.
And so, sorry, carry on.
I think it's also about kind of just like championing DIY culture as well. Like these are people who are just doing it on kind of like little to no budget for the love, for the passion. And I think it's about, getting that out there as well and just championing that way.
So actually, could you just like go around and just like introduce yourselves individually, just so then for people who don't know, and what is your kind of role in MUKA?
So I'm Imogen and I write articles for MUKA. I'm also often just hovering around the background, contributing my opinion, whether it's wanted or not. So that's that, because it's all just done from this living room. So, that's me.
So headquarters, that living room.
It is MUKA HQ. I'm Hannah. I'm a visual artist by trade, but I'm also within MUKA. I'm kind of really interested in how we can use MUKA as a platform to connect people, for collaboration, to support artists, emerging artists, and also to kind of really develop meaningful projects within communities. So that's kind of my focus. Yeah.
Hannah's the big picture person.
Yeah, I do a lot of strategic thinking because I work for a youth-led arts organisation, so I'm bringing in lots of my experiences of my paid job in the arts to being like, how can we shape this for like long-term longevity and sustainability and kind of just creating really meaningful work, really.
Yeah, that's great.
I'm Evan.
You're the brains behind it.
It's my baby. It's my baby that
it's your baby,
these guys have helped raise. At the minute, because I'm that's mine.
That's yours.
Yeah, that's mine. At the minute, because I'm living La Vida Furlough.
Nice.
I'm taking a lot of like the brunt of like interviews and articles. And the actual communication and connection between people, and doing more of the groundwork for the moment, but then getting ourselves really involved in bigger things and getting bigger projects going.
Building solid foundations.
Building the foundations,
yeah.
Before work resumes, spending every minute just getting it ready.
I'm Connor, writer, contributor. Also soundboard and contributor for future planning and all that kind of stuff. We all dabble in like little bits of everything.
We all do everything. I think everyone's got specialities in certain areas,
and it's more than just us as well. It's we've got a few 4 members.
Yeah, there are another four members as well. So we have got.
Do you want to introduce them as well?
Yeah, so we've got Chesca Cox Henderson, who
legend
is like mint DJ, and she's doing a lot of more future planning for us in the music sector. So I'm looking at mix series and our radio shows, and she also does all our like engineering, all our techie stuff.
Yeah.
We have got Maisie Hambleton, who is our digital designer, so she's in charge of like website and future planning for general art direction. We have Asa Hudson, who is basically he's the music journalist, so all the reviews on the new stuff comes through Asa.
Best job, that, isn't it? I think.
pretty good. And then we also have Laura Weaver, who is a practicing artist, and she contributes a lot of the like groundwork, art direction, so more about community engagement through the arts, and has so far been our main art journalist as well.
Cool. Thanks for that. So in terms of the name MUKA, what was the kind of thinking behind that, and where did you come up with that name? And
Big conversation.
Made underground culture with a K, because I love German.
Well, I
culture, if you want to have an art.
Culture. What was it?
Art.
It was the culture of the working classes rising up, and that's how Eagleton bought.
Yeah.
I can't.
But we spelled it with a C, and it sounded more like
MUKA, as you previously said.
Yeah. Sorry.
Hey, might get that, but anyway, it's up for interpretation. People can say it.
People can call it what they want. Call us a
I think people call us what they want.
I think people get hung up on names a lot, and I've tried to do stuff like this in the past, and like been really fixated on the name, and then never done anything. So I think it was really good that you just wrote a list, sat in the pub, back when we could be in the pub, and just like, what about that? And that one kind of jumped out, and we just went for it, because otherwise we could just still be chatting about the name and not doing anything.
Yeah.
So is it actually an acronym, or you don't want to use it as an acronym now? It's kind of like
it was birthed as an acronym, but then we don't hold any importance in the acronym.
Manchester Underground Culture and Arts. Made Underground Culture and Arts. Whatever.
Manchester's Underground Cultural Arts.
Cultural Arts.
It does, like, at this point, it doesn't matter, because I think MUKA is its own thing,
entity
outside of that acronym.
Sorry, I'm still trying to come up with other acronyms for it.
What have you got, Connor? What have you got for the
Mid-Viewers Collective Arts.
My understand. No.
Knowledge.
Common acronyms.
And knowledge acronyms.
We've already got a good acronym. Like, we don't need to come up with any better ones. We should focus on the worst ones, if any.
Yeah. No, it's good. What about the logo then? It's like a kind of like a fly, is it?
Yeah, so
Manchester Fly.
To be honest, like it took us ages to think of something, and I was just flicking through some books, and saw like an image of a fly, and I sort of thought, oh, that's brilliant, because it's similar to the Manchester Bee,
but a bit more dirty.
A bit dirty.
Charlton.
Brown Bee.
And we are sort of flies on the wall.
Yeah.
What is going on in the city?
Oh, nice. I like that. Yeah, there you go.
Sort of fit together.
Yeah.
Now the drawing I drew was about like a centimetre square.
It was a real life size. It was life size of a fly.
We caught it outside in the summer.
And just
with a net.
Stuck.
I like that. Yeah. It did make me think of the bee, like Manchester Bee. Like I was like, oh yeah, I can see the kind of similarities there.
We're all going to get it tattooed. I haven't actually posited the rest of the group yet, but
I'm down for that.
I think we are all decided now.
Whereabouts, Connor? Whereabouts you going to have it, mate? On your, like...
Right here.
On your fob?
On the back of your mate.
That'll look nice, actually.
Yeah, I'm
behind me.
Get the skirt off here. It's stuck on.
So Evan, I mean, I guess it's everyone, but you recently started a collaboration with Islington Mill. Do you want to tell us a bit about that and tell us about the venue? I mean, it's an amazing space, isn't it?
Oh, I can talk for hours about the mill now. Yeah, so it's started by Bill Campbell in '99. Bill went down to London to uni and then quickly came home because he missed Manchester and Salford. And he lived opposite what was the mill, which had been abandoned for about 50 years at that point in '99.
Yeah.
And he just saw that there was a select sign, and he had a textile fashion brand that he'd started and opened up a space, rented out a space for himself, and then just got mates involved, and it honestly grew from there. He took over another part of that building, another part, and then got levels, and then the studios happened, and then people leave, new people come in, and it's just transformed over 20 years to what I would probably say is like the creative hub
Epicenter
of the north of England, really.
Mm.
I think it's become one of the defining parts of it, because it's a place like no other where artists and all sort of DIY people are given a safe space to flourish and be supported by other people doing a similar thing, and
build that community.
They'd had a music venue in there for years, which is how I started going to the mill. Like when I was like 14, going to like see Russian circles in a dirty room in Salford, and I was like, what is going on? And you just sort of get welcomed into this strange place that's got a little outside seating area full of fairy lights with like an exhibition gallery that's then a venue that's got 500 studios upstairs, and you sort of like, what are you talking about? This can't be real. This isn't a thing.
Are we in Berlin?
It was one of the reasons I came to university in Manchester. Like the fact that Manchester had things like Islington Mill just going on was so exciting.
And I think the collaboration started because we loved so much work that was coming out of there, and so many people were doing great stuff, whether they be graphic designers, clothing brands, drag queens, musicians, whatever, and
community support groups as well. They don't just pigeonhole themselves. It's not just about being cool.
No.
They do something more than that. They're like, if it's a battle between being cool and being good, they're a good organisation.
Yeah.
Which is cool.
Yeah.
I think that is
which
cool.
is cool in itself.
Yeah.
So the collaboration sort of started because we were writing so many stories about people from there that I was like, I was actually telling people about these artists. I was like, oh, they're at Islington Mill, and people were like, what's that? And it sort of boggled my mind that people don't know what it was. I was like,
Yeah, it's not like the centre though, is it? So
it's out the way. Like unless you know it's there, you don't know it's there. So I don't know. Just sort of with like my like personal connection of like 10 years going there, I was like, I'm gonna tell everyone about it because they need to know. And through chatting to Jess Coulson there, it just sort of snowballed into what we've got as a month-long collaboration on so many different levels.
And I think it just shows the power of DIY and like how the power of cultural regeneration as well, of like how important artists and creatives are in like problem solving and just like creating all of this amazing culture for other people to kind of engage with. And I think it's just something that we just aspire to kind of be. They're just like kind of
Well, it's
really inspirational.
It's how reliant we are on it as a society. Like when Rishi Sunak said last year, if you're an artist, retrain inside,
retrain, remodel,
reboot
the computer,
turn yourself off and turn yourself on.
Jesus.
Which I'd take on episode of this.
Our culture, we are addicted to culture, and not just us, but everybody. And the mill, like the mill does so much, and will continue to do so much for all of time. I hope.
Yeah, it's really important, and I think letting everyone know that and letting them understand why it's important is crucial to the DIY story of Manchester and Salford.
The history stuff were great.
Yeah.
It's like a community, isn't it? Like a little kind of.
It's 100% a community.
Yeah, because I had Emma Thompson on, like, and she just talked about how it was like, just this amazing community, and she had like, pulling all these artists and creatives and musicians together, and she just had an amazing time like the whole time,
I don't think Emma slept for 2 years.
Yeah. So
she was running a 24-hour club. She lived for it.
So how's it going so far? What have you been doing? Can you tell us a bit about what you're working on at the moment with Islington Mill, specifically?
So specifically for the mill, we've done we've collaborated for the whole month of March, and we've split the 4 weeks into 4 different themes. So the first week we looked at the history of the mill. So we looked at what Islington Mill was before the organisation that we know and love now. And so looking back in its cotton mill roots and the community around it. Then we looked at 2000 to the present day, so almost like the story of what they've been doing, the past residents, the story of how it came to be, and then we looked at the future plans, because they've been absolutely amazingly successful in getting a huge grant from the EU. So they're now being able to refurbish a lot of the old building and buy every single building that's on the plot of land or originally was the mill. So I think they're guessing that they're going to be able to get another 500 studios in there.
Wow.
Which is just,
exactly,
that's just ridiculous.
That's the factory.
Yeah.
That's it. It's not, anyway.
Yeah.
I can't even imagine 500 people anymore. I'm so accustomed to this little room.
Going outside today, like outside the...
I could probably imagine
outside the house for the first time in like 4 days. I was like, oh my god, what is this?
What else have we got coming up?
This is strange.
I could probably imagine 500 rooms.
Exclusive.
Yeah, of course we are. Well, we haven't done week 2 or 3 yet.
Yeah.
Week 2, the mill took over our social media and talked about some of their newest residents and some of their oldest and best. So they looked at Impa TV, which is the Islington Mill public access television. We looked at artists like James Unsworth and Astata Kara.
Yeah.
And then at Jesse Stringer Futrell.
Yeah, no.
Jesse Stringer Futrell, who runs Jessie May Lingerie, Carla Clothing, and like her own stuff. Yeah, so great. Next week we've got the MUKA top picks.
Our picks.
I think we've got 8. So like
some very exciting stuff.
Partington's Pots, who is actually Dave, who taught me how to make pottery when I was a kid.
Oh, cool.
So as soon as I saw it, I was like, Dave, I'm talking to you.
Let's talk about pots, Dave. Come on.
Honestly, the interview was 2 hours because we were just like catching up.
That's nice, yeah.
Get a bit potty, didn't we?
Get a bit potty, yeah. So let's focus in on.
We have got one more thing.
Oh
as
yeah,
well.
go for it. Yeah.
This is an exclusive, Rick, so you don't want to miss it.
Exclusive.
So the week after next, we have got a virtual reality exhibition that we have created, which is all about film photography taken in and around Manchester over the past year that has been developed by DIYD, which is a dark room run by Ellie in Islington Mill.
Oh, wicked!
So
right.
We've physically created a gallery.
It's like on a screen, you're physically walking around the gallery. It's incredible.
Nice.
Have you ever played Second Life?
The photography is
or ever
amazing.
played anything on a PlayStation 2? Because it's better than that.
4K, man.
Yeah.
So where can we? Is that going to be streamed, like a exhibition sort of streamed?
So it's honestly it's easier than that. It's literally a link. You go to the link and it enters you into our little world that we've made.
Like a portal.
We also have a GoFundMe page where people can donate to help us turn this into a physical publication, because we'd love to be able to give the people that have been a part of it some money and pay them for their actual work, and have like people that wouldn't consider themselves photographers be put out, be published in something, have their work in a photography exhibition. I think
that's cool.
That physical tenuous link is something that's really important for people over the last year, when we've had sort of nothing really tangible at the minute. So I think that's important to have this as a finality to this collaboration, as something that we can
hopefully hold in our hands.
Something tangible.
We'd also
live in the Salford Zine Library as well, and that's just going to be the legacy of the collaboration month.
We'd also like to create a bit of a pot of money as well, which is very helpful, but to pour into future community projects, because it's not just about all this. Like, we love all the journalistic culture stuff, but we want to eventually move forward and begin doing things with the community, working with them,
for them,
and just building them up and giving people the opportunities to have whatever they do showcased, and just talked about and a future in it.
That's cool.
So big dreams.
Watch this space. It's happening. So I wanted to focus in on like each person individually, because I've got some kind of specific questions about some of the stuff that you've done. So Imogen, we can start with you. So you are the art assistant and writer for MUKA. Is that right?
Yeah, I'll go with it.
So what does MUKA mean to you?
Honestly, MUKA, it started off as something personal, like I said about Gazelleband, who was definitely the first interview I wrote. And then as soon as we started like expanding on it, it gets so exciting, hearing and like discovering, even as like as MUKA, discovering new people and new things, and talking to people like you, and then like going off on a tangent and looking at all the people you interviewed and being like, oh, we'll pinch them.
Pinch away. Oh, good.
It's just an example of like, it's just so exciting. It means a lot to me. Sadly, I'm back at work now because I'm a teacher, but I just love coming home and hearing about everything that's going on, and
So if you want to tell us a bit about that interview, then what, how was that for you, and what can you tell us a bit more about Gazelleband, this kind of Palestinian duo that play kind of traditional Middle Eastern music? Would you be able to tell us a bit more about them? And
so like I said, it started with, he was another teacher at my school, and we actually took the kids on a school trip to go and see his band play at the Manchester Museum. And it was like Manchester Museum / university. It's like a shared little bit that they have. And I was literally blown away. I knew that he did that music, but as soon as I started watching him, and he's a doctor in music as well, and he's just massively like underappreciated, but he plays any instrument you put in his hands. And then me and Evan didn't really understand the massiveness of it until we met his wife Reen, who was born in Gaza and then faced like a lot of troubles in her life with like wars going on and like borders being closed, and the family saying, no, you've got to settle down and get a husband. And she was like, no,
I'm not doing this.
Well, she was the first
oud player.
Yeah, she was the first oud player, wasn't she?
Like women, it's like professional female oud player.
Yeah, first female.
From Gaza.
So what's an oud then, for people who don't know?
So it's also called like the watermelon instrument, because the back of it's like a guitar, but the back of it looks like a watermelon. It's like got a massive like I'm no expert, but
it's called the watermelon guitar because imagine chopping a watermelon in half, and that's the body.
Yeah,
and it has a very short neck, So I think it's 7 strings played in a very like strange tuning, but like when we did the interview, we went round to the house because it was at that time in life where you could.
Yeah. Pre-COVID,
and that brief bit. We were doing the interview, and I was like, "Can I have a go? Can I try it? Because like I play guitar, so I should be able to play this."
Did you feel like George Formby being let loose in uniform?
Unfortunately.
Hey, he's from Wigan, that lad. I know that lad.
He is from Wigan.
Hello, Wigan.
I've got Wigan heritage. I'm from Wigan.
Oh, really? Oh, great. There you go.
Man.
So anyway, we did the interview, and honestly, both of us were just there like, we forgot to ask questions. We're just like, tell us everything. Start from the start to tell us everything. like just like screw up this piece of paper that had questions on, like chuck it.
Yeah.
Just tell us everything because it was so interesting.
I think it was like my first real like conversation and understanding of like the genuine life of like a refugee that like I personally am connecting with, and it was terrifying to say the least. Like the genuine stories that she was saying, like honestly made like Jim was saying, we sort of stopped doing the interview because I was like, my questions mean nothing when you're telling me about your experiences, and we
just want to hit them all.
I found myself in a position where I was like, we need to tell people what you've done to like get here and to play music. Like that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like it really took me. It took me back.
So if you're watching this and you haven't listened to the Gazelleband yet, then I'd go and check them out. They don't have. They don't have Spotify.
They're on YouTube.
I think they're just on. I think they're on SoundCloud, but mainly on YouTube.
Mainly on
and
YouTube,
Facebook.
right.
They post a lot of like videos that they do at home, and they've got like this newborn baby.
They don't have any like studio recordings. They just record themselves on the phone at home, and they're very well known within their circle. So they simply get work through word of mouth, rather than the modern ways of them coming up on a search, which I think is beautiful in itself.
Yeah, I'll link them for people to check out.
I honestly could go on about them for hours, so better move on.
You better get them on your show.
And Lewis,
that's a good idea. Yeah.
Lewis did just direct a film as well called Kafia, about a Palestinian band called Kafia. And when they did the screening of it, they did a live set as well. So that's well worth checking out.
Great. And what are you working on now, Imogen? Have you got anything in the pipeline?
So I'm working on at the moment a article about not female. Sorry. Oh, my mind's on blank.
Textile
artist, that's the one. I am working on it, I promise. Not just female though. Like I often found like even like as a textile student at A-level age, like I was so shocked by. I was just like obsessed with Tracy Emin, as I feel lots of people are at that point, where like. She just like outright said like women are the only textile artists and they're expected to be like beautiful and functional, and she was just like, you know what, fuck it, let's go mad.
Do you remember when we were at school and I made you sew my bag together in textiles?
I did everyone's textiles.
Yeah, you were sick of it.
You just taught him how to do it.
You still do it. You still do fix all that stuff.
I had 2 pieces of lilac fabric.
Yeah.
And sewed them together. And it was like a burlap sack that you put over your head. Honestly, it were terrifying. And that's no disrespect to her skills as a sewer. More disrespect for my skills.
Your design.
Yeah, my design.
So you went to school together, Imogen and Connor?
Yeah, we went to school together.
Oh, well, right. So you go way back then. Way back.
Long enough.
Way back.
10, 11 years? 10, 11 years.
So, Connor, we'll go to you next. Thank you, Imogen.
Hello.
What does MUKA mean to you, Connor?
Well, community. Community is the main thing for me. It's about building those bridges and going out there and doing something for people rather than, because we are, like I said before, we are doing a lot of journalistic stuff at the minute, which I love. It's very interesting. But I know all of us really want to get to the stage where we can get out of the lockdown and like help people, ask people what they need in their neighbourhood, their community, and try and bring some of those desires and dreams into a form of realisation. So yeah, that's in my head, that's what it has the capacity for, and that's why I'm excited about it, and that's why I love it.
Yeah.
Like I would a small band.
So I don't know if I'm going to pronounce this right, but the Methuselah tree, is that
Methuselah? Yeah, Methuselah tree.
So tell us a bit about this, because this is really interesting.
Me and Evan were doing a radio show, and I sounded well like that. radio show.
You want to know that we came from the same place.
Great tell, we were doing the radio show.
Is it a poultry?
Yeah, no, we were doing a radio show. And
great accent, man. Love
it. Yeah, no, we were doing the radio show and came across Theme from Methuselah by Will Robinson on Bandcamp. It was
on Bandcamp, yeah, just looking at new releases.
And I remember sat there, we were in my room, and I turned to Evan and I went, "Look at this! Right now, look at this! Stop!" And the artwork was amazing. It was kind of like this 2D glitchy thing of the Methuselah tree, black and white. We listened to it. It was a bit like Plantasia. It was very kind of late 90s, early 90s video game stuff, which was when we grew up. It brought back a lot of stuff for me. And it was just a soundtrack to an online game or experience, as I believe Ella would call it. But yeah, it's choice-based. And it's very philosophical, and it's just about life and death and kind of chaos and fear, and whether we are controlled by fear in our fear of it, or whether fear is like an evolutionary advantage. And yeah, Elle, they were commissioned by Fat UK for it, and they got Will to do the soundtrack for it. And yeah, just create this amazing project that just blew my head off.
It blew both our heads off.
Yeah, we sat there and played it about 3 times.
that reminds me, I just want to say that, like, for anyone watching that's not massive game head, like, you don't need to be massively into games.
Yeah,
it's not one of those games that takes weeks to complete. It takes half an hour, but it sticks with you forever.
And that's it. We're not really.
Brilliant.
We never entered into this. I never entered into this thinking I'm going to write about a video game, because that's not something I'm really that arsed about. Like, and as well, I feel like there's a lot of voices in kind of journalistic routes for video games. There's a lot of female voices and not male voices in those areas that are kind of like shouted down and pushed down, and I don't want to be one of those voices that does that. But that game was something that it felt right to write about. I never wanted to write about video games until we played that. And yeah, it just kind of felt natural to write about that one. It was a piece of culture.
Yeah, it crosses boundaries.
It does cross boundaries, yeah, completely.
Cool. So, Hannah.
Yes, hello.
How you doing?
Good.
What does MUKA mean to you then?
Yeah, for me, MUKA is about, I think making art more accessible to lots of people, meaning, you know, it's showing what art can do for people, what it can be, how it can relate to their lives. You know, it's not these white-walled gallery spaces. Art in the broader sense, creativity in the broader sense, culture in the broader sense. Just kind of showing how relevant it can be and what people can get out of it. And I think it's really important that we are providing a platform to support other artists and creatives facilitating conversations and collaborations, really. So like, yeah, just lots of exciting stuff like that, I think, yeah.
And so you're the art director. What have you been? What are you currently working on in the framework of MUKA?
Yeah, so I've actually been chatting to Pink, who are a artist-led organisation based in the city, who have just got a space, and all of their programme have been put on hold due to COVID, but they're going to be based at the Seesaw kind of creative cooperative working space.
Sick.
They've got a new venue. They're doing lots of community-led stuff as well, and they're doing lots of like research projects, like really open-ended research questions and kind of interrogating lots of stuff. So yeah, that's really exciting, and I can't wait to kind of go down when we can check that out.
Wicked. So there was another question that's more for like everyone really. What are the highlights, would you say, so far of I mean, how long has MUKA been kind of together? How long has it been? When was it founded, would you say?
Officially launched in November.
Yeah, it's been ruminating for about 12 months now.
Yeah, but officially launched.
Yeah, so to the general public, we were born in November. So we are...
I feel like the conversation started flowing...
Over a year ago,
like before lockdown. And lockdown, not to overshadow all the horrible things that happened, but like for us, it was a blessing in disguise. Just to have that time, and we're like, right, now is the time to be doing this. Yeah. So yeah, over a year now. But I
remember being at an end of year party at Partisan, and like we were just sat talking about it, like, haha, wouldn't it be funny if we did this?
Yeah.
And then I went to the toilets. I was like, just. Such a specific memory of being in the toilet, turning to someone next to me and being like, should I do that? should I do this thing? And told him about it, and he was like, yeah,
good idea.
What's on the toilet? So I was like, right, we're gonna do it. We're gonna do it.
And then you came out, and it was just like being like, oh, Brandon, you'd be perfect for it. And everyone was like, oh, something's happening then. Like, Brandon, we'll do something with you. Like, Brandon Smith, if anyone's interested. We also did an article with him again.
Yeah.
I was going to say, in terms of highlights, I think it's been really good to connect with Steam Radio. I think Steam Radio, again, kind of like community-based radio station based in Hume at the old Abbey Tap. And it was cool because we were just doing an interview with them, and then it kind of transpired that they were like, do you want a show? And it means that we can reach more people. It means that we've got like it's just like another way of communicating with people.
Yeah, that's a way to show the Manchester music in like a really accessible way, rather than us just writing about them, because I feel like with music you need to hear it. You don't want someone telling you it sounds like this. You want
those are always like so diverse as well, with like what's on there. So they're worth checking out.
Yeah,
highlight for me has been getting involved with all the Islington Mill stuff, because through that, like we've started to learn how to set MUKA up as an organisation, really, rather than just kind of a fluid idea that facilitates people between people. We're kind of looking into setting ourselves up as either a business or a CIC CIC mainly. And so it's just been really interesting to learn about all that, which has been, the Mill have been really involved with helping a lot of people doing that. They've done fantastic work. Professionally for me that's an highlight, but personally it's kind of reignited my love for writing again.
Oh, great, man. Yeah,
I did writing at uni, and I've been through years of just being like, writing's for knobheads, blah, blah, blah. I'll still do my writing cathartically, but now it's kind of giving me that push to
write for purpose.
Yeah, write for purpose.
It's for a bigger purpose, isn't it? Not just for yourself, like I said.
Not just for yourself, not just to
and I think
sink your own demons.
I think that's my thing as well. Like, I spent years sort of going to gigs, playing some gigs, taking some photos, doing some paintings, not really doing anything.
Yeah,
and now I'm like, I'm giving my all back to the people that have sort of sculpted me, with a little help from my friends.
Aww.
And just like
we get a ring going over.
There's going to be some tears, guys. I'm ready for it.
Honestly, that's the biggest thing for me is like actually doing something with my mates that isn't getting pissed and having great conversations.
But also, I mean, I think it's worth saying that like we've started it, but throughout this already, we've Chesca, we didn't know her before we started. We are open for collaboration and open for contribution. So
anyone that wants to join us, we're here for people to come and do it with us.
Yeah, if you've got an idea, we want to like help, support, facilitate that, like connect you to other people, and just support the kind of bringing it to life.
So who should they contact if someone's listening or watching this and they want to contribute? Just
the MUKA Instagram, I'd say.
MUKA Instagram. Yeah.
Well, you've got two parts of contact. You've got the MUKA Instagram, which is MUKA and then you have our website, which is also MUKAMCR.com, and then you can contact us on either of those, either through social media or straight to our email
on our website as well, which
emails on both, and that's they're the two main ports of call whilst we're still stuck indoors,
still housebound. But it's not just about Manchester either. I always think with MUKA, and we said this previously, that we don't want we want to do the Manchester stuff. We live here. We love this city. It's kind of sculpted us.
But we want someone else to do it in another city as well.
MUKA. Someone in Leeds, go out there. MUKA. If anybody in Leeds is watching this, go out there, set up MUKA. If anyone in Bath, MUKA. If anyone anywhere in Farnsworth, fucker.
Oh, he's been.
He's done it. He's done it. He's wrapped it in there.
It's
Southampton,
sucker.
Hey.
Come on.
We want people to look at what we're doing and then go back to their own communities and be like, right, what can I do for my community? What can I do to build up this city, town, village, anywhere that they live, and strengthen the bonds that they all have?
So it's like a movement. You want to create this kind of groundswell of like...
It's making the global local. Because we live in an increasingly globalised world, and which is brilliant. It has given us so much power with communication, the internet, everything like that. But we've got to take that and we've got to take it back.
To hyper-localise it and make it smaller so we can better ourselves and better our neighbours, better our families.
And I think that's the one thing that lockdown has done. I think a lot of our generation has seen that the country doesn't work for us and doesn't concern a lot of the younger population. And I think a lot of us are always looking at where we're going to move to that's not here. When are we going to leave? When are we going to go live in Berlin? But I think lockdown has, I'm just talking for myself here, but has made me appreciate the hyper-local community and really look at where I am and what is going on here rather than my head is when am I going to go to New Zealand and just snowboard for a year? Because I'm actually...
Enzucker.
Yeah, you can do it. Enzucker. Well, it'd be Waka if I moved to Wellington.
I was wondering, Evan, if you would talk about what the other guys kind of working on at the moment, because they're not actually here, they're not present. So like Chesca, Asa, is that how you pronounce it? Asa?
Yeah. So Asa has got a selection of reviews that he's looking at the minute. So Baby Six Collective have released something with Clavier Grouper, which is like a really cool experimental saxophone and piano album. There's also Portable Radio, which are a great take on the Beach Boys sort of band that have just released their debut album, which is fantastic. And there's a litany of other bits that Ace is doing. Chesca is looking at starting a mix series, so getting a lot of more DJs involved with us and our output. So looking at more Manchester-specific artists and music and making mixes out of them that we could then also feature on our radio show. And Maisie is, well, looking at a little bit of rebranding, making us all fresh and new, because honestly we're gonna change our look every quarter pretty much. So what we look like is just always going to change, because
me and Evan work in shops outside of this. Evan works in Diesel and I work in Calvin, it's clothes shop, which is, when you work in a shop you're always susceptible to remerching.
Consistently.
All the time, whether you do it by season or whether you just do it
by collection
on the weekend when you feel like you want it.
And I think that's kind of really important, to be like, I don't look the same. I am the same, but I've now changed.
I'm constantly changing, I'm constantly evolving, and that's something that we took from our jobs.
What about what happened? What happened?
Yeah. Go on, mention that.
So we do have a collaboration project with Callum Winters, who is also known as Do Your Best, an experimental record label that Baby Six record that I mentioned has come out on. So we started a collaboration called What Happened, and we're doing a lottery draw of years between 1950 and 2020. And we're looking at the underground subcultures of Manchester in that specific year. So, like in certain years, like let's say 1978, like Factory Records starts, Joy Division, Warsaw changed the name to Joy Division.
There's
Morrissey,
the Rock Against Racism gig in Alexander Park.
Morrissey does his first single with Ed and the Nosebleeds, but like, what else is there? What else is there that we should know about? And so we're doing a little short piece, historical piece about the year, and then doing a mixed playlist of some of our favourite tracks on that. So last month we released 1994. Where we had great tunes from like Orteka and Dorothy Column. This month, which hasn't been released yet, is 1978, and there's some absolute whoppers on there.
It's class.
It's a good year. So this is
me and Evan just sit there in the morning and we're like, Evan will say the year and be like, oh right, we've just drawn the year, and then we'll both sit there on our laptops being like, listen to this. December 1979.
Oh, they were from Cheadle. Cheshire, it's not Manchester.
The voice sounds great.
Yeah. So this is an ever expanding project that we kind of, I personally hope that we can start curating exhibitions of the actual articles, of zines, of posters, and of releases of those years. So that's the big goal for this project, to really get some legs and to be really an informative deep dive for people to understand like what happened specifically in Manchester that isn't pop culture and that we should know about that we don't already know.
Everyone was even talking to a professional archiver today who's based in Manchester, who's put on things like the Joy Division.
He's done like loads of the Factory exhibitions. He's like done done like countless. He's done loads of stuff.
But everyone was talking to him about like advice on how we can make it better, how we can take it further, what we can do when lockdown's finished. So, like we said before, stay tuned because there's lots of good things coming.
And it's like the little things as well. We got sent something not so long ago.
Great little chat book.
Yeah. Oh, wow. A little essay by Nell Whitaker on charity shops.
Oh, wow.
And
cool.
This was just, it was like such an exciting thing.
Because he's part of our photography exhibition. So we had a chat with them, And just got chatting, and they were like, "Yeah, I'm a writer as well. Here's this thing that I did," and we were happy enough for them to send it to us. So great reading, and we're gonna do something more coming up with Nell.
Listen to this.
Awesome.
There must be a way of living that accommodates change, where bonds are flexible and expansive, like water, like buildings with rubber foundations erected on plains where tectonic plates meet.
Wow.
And I just think that's gorgeous.
That's
like,
great.
The fact that someone can just send you that. They live in Manchester. They're talking about charity shops. And it's beautiful.
I think that
some more of that, please.
That encapsulates everything. It encapsulates everything.
Yeah.
Person sent us their work, and now we're gonna be like, right, now we tell everyone about your work, because why do people not know about this?
Yeah.
We need to think of a little like ringtone for our address.
A ringtone.
Yeah. You know, like a
MUKA. What? Use one of our radio jingles.
Like a radio jingle.
Could be like one off like.
Send us stuff.
Oh yeah.
Send us your bits.
Oh.
It's a work in progress.
Yeah.
So,
it's a work in progress. All right.
The future of MUKA, like post, hopefully, like we're now, the restrictions are starting to lift gradually, as we know. What kind of physical event are you going to have? Some kind of physical events, like what have you got planned for the future?
One booked in, but
So-
I don't know.
We've got one booked in, but we've got loads planned.
Well,
We've got loads planned, and I don't know whether.
You know what?
We're announcing.
We'll just tell Rick everything that we've got planned. So
Yeah, you know what? No secrecy.
No secrecy.
Transparency.
No.
So MUKA
Exclusive.
are part of a team that myself and Hannah Tinker of Wilderness Record Shop have sort of got this team together, and we're going to make a compilation, a physical compilation release of all the great Manchester music that's come out at the minute.
Oh, great.
Because there's loads of stuff coming out of London, like slow dance, group therapy, and isolation tapes. There's just solidarity tapes, not isolation tapes. So there's loads of comps. So we feel like Manchester really needs and deserves a part in that. So that is one big project that we have coming up. We're working with Callum Winters, that we've already mentioned. Bless you.
Yeah, bless you.
Nick Barber of Barber Presents. We're working with Emma Thompson of Fat Out. We're working
Emma, yes.
with, big up Emma. We're working with Brandon Smith, and we are also working with Cumber Studio, who have their beautiful little hub of excellence in the Niamos Theatre in Hume. So from that, we're gonna make our own. So we're gonna have the release, and then our plan that we have really got in the making this week is we're gonna start our own Tiny Desk Sessions, form of like KEXP show where we get live bands on and chat to them and do a little interview. So that's one side.
That's one
side amidst a couple of gigs that we've got planned. So we're also going to be doing in September, we're going to do Daniel Johnston commemoration gig, because unfortunately it's 2 years since his passing. So we're going to, on the 11th of September, so we're going to be raising some money for some Manchester-based mental health charities, and follow that up with some mental health workshops on how creativity can help with that. So we're going to be working with some sound therapists.
And that's when Asa comes in as well, because he's
also a sound therapist. Yeah. So we're going to be doing a couple of workshops on how sound can help you with your mental health.
And that's more of what we want to do as well. We don't just want to do these events that like
for the sake of it.
Yeah,
we're not doing
just like here's a catalogue of things that we think are cool. It's we want to do more workshops, more things that are like
impactful.
Yeah. Here's how to help your CV. Here's how to
So a couple of bits that we talked about today. You want to talk about a couple of them from today?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, in light of everything that's happened this week, we were talking about kind of women's safety and all that sort of stuff. So we want to be able to kind of to resource and raise some money as well to go towards some women's charities. We want to collaborate, I think, with lots of different charities on that. There's stuff we want to be responsive to kind of
what is actually going on.
Yeah.
Because that's what people need. People need a resource that can inform them and can help them move forward in whatever they want.
But stuff that's going on, but it's not just a topical thing, but stuff that is an ongoing problem.
It's like it's using art and culture as a vehicle for like social change. So I think that's like it. Yeah, there's really bigger, deep-rooted issues that we kind of we want to go towards dismantling or kind of raising awareness or educating people around.
Activism, you want to do a lot of kind of activism.
Activism, you could call it.
Activism.
Yeah. I've not coined that myself.
So I feel like what you know of us right now is really plan C. This isn't what we started out as, what we wanted to do. Like,
it's not plan C, it's just like being open to growing and developing.
I think
organic plan.
It's changing all the time.
It's fluidity and
flexible, it's responsive, it's adapting to what people need.
And I think we cover every base really, covering over DIY communities. Whatever is needed at that time and what we can respond to.
I feel like we've rambled on a lot, but I just hope that it shows how passionate we all are about it. We get so excited. It's not just a wine, we get so excited about
how many areas we all care about as well.
Yeah.
And how passionate we are, like you say, across them.
Yeah, I think we all have very different specialities. I think that is important because we then can spread over so many areas that we collectively care about.
Yeah. Oh, it's pissing down.
Persistent.
Persistence. Typical Manchester.
I'll tell you what, it'd be good to do it again with like everyone, like here, all the guys.
Well, you know what's really funny?
That'd be ace.
All 8 of us have never been in a room together.
Yeah, no.
Oh,
we haven't been outside
physically.
Because
I don't even think we've been outside together.
No, we have New Year.
No, there was one missing.
Oh, Maisie was missing.
Yeah,
Maisie was missing.
We've never been because we started it in this sort of time. We've never been in a room together. We've never met all at once.
No, Ace.
Honestly, we've never. All 8 of us haven't been in a room together at the same time.
We've been on Zoom. We've been on countless Zoom meetings together.
It's just been online. Oh my god, I can't believe that's true.
I know.
Holy crap.
But yeah, I think also takeaway, if people want to get involved, definitely.
Yeah, it's not about us,
Instagram
us.
It's not this closed off elitist thing. It just happens to be that we're all friends and we're really passionate about making something happen.
Yeah.
And if you want to get involved with your community,
that was it.
Then just butt in, because we haven't got all the specialities. We don't know everything.
Yeah. It's about providing a platform, holding the space for others as well.
Aside from Hannah, Whitlow and Jin, we're idiots.
Nah, you're good, Connor, man. You're good.
Yeah, that's Jin.
Yeah, because it didn't start off. It started off as us 4.
Yeah.
And then people have joined.
Snowballed.
Us 4 really pissed in a room at like 2 in the morning with post-it notes lining the walls.
It wasn't that late. It was the start of the night.
I know, guys.
Orchestrated this big thinking session with flip chart and post-its and Sharpies and anyway. But yeah, they're all the questions that we still revisit of like why does MUKA exist and what do we want to change in the world and how we're going to do it. So big ideas, but
and it's about it's exactly as you say. It's about that revisiting it to keep it snowballing. And constantly asking yourself the same questions to see how you've changed and how the climate's changed.
Yeah.
Great.
Hopefully that's been enough for you, Rick.
That's great. Honestly, it's a bit like the time's just flown. It's like an hour or something that's just gone.
Oh gosh, yeah.
So I really appreciate you coming on my show, and I will be plugging the shit out of it so we can get people on board.
Well, honestly, Rick, everything you've done has been fucking fantastic.
Oh, thanks, man.
Big fans.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Do you know what? I was a
lovely.
massive fan of you in your personal life anyway.
And now
so
you
now
do
to see you in
this.
this professional capacity, you've been wonderful. Mate.
My dabbing days are over, I'm afraid to say.
Oh, no!
Yeah.
You know what? No. I don't mind that as long as you're doing something that makes you happy. I can see you are.
This is great, man. Yeah, this podcast stuff is great. So
now we can pause the recording and then swap it round for us interviewing you for MUKA.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, what are the secret codes?
No, but it's people like yourself, though. You know,
Yeah.
like you are what creates the magic in the city. Yeah.
yeah, and the other guys, the Loose Creatives podcast. I think I like what they do as well.
Yeah, they're all great. So Hannah Tinker that we mentioned earlier, who's part of that comp team, she's just done the last episode of that.
I saw it. Listen to that.
Oh, it's great. I love it, man.
One of the members, I think it's Davey that does it.
Davey,
is part of Yang, who is the band that Hannah Tinker manages.
Yeah. A
Great.
city of nepotism.
who are also going to be on the comp as well.
Little spoiler.
There we go.
You've had so many.
There's so many.
Yeah.
This is your newest exclusive.
Should start a Patreon or something and do like exclusive, footage and
We
videos.
can't keep secrets.
No, we're really bad at keeping secrets. As soon as someone else, we're like,
Tell everybody.
$5 Yankee for a sequel.
Right.
Right, okay, we're
Great.
to it.
Well, hopefully next time I see you, we'll be sitting in Sandbar having a pint of shindigger.
oh, yes,
You know.
please.
I think we should
It will be.
remake.
It is,
Sandbar
yeah.
for
Yeah, it needs to be.
Use one of the offices upstairs. Be like, Dave, do you mind if we use this back room?
Do like drop-in sessions, like any creatives that want to get involved. We're at
Yeah.
Sandbar
Yeah.
24/7.
Well, I
There you
can confirm that Sandbar it will be reopening. I don't know if I should be saying that, but
There's your exclusive.
there you go. Yeah.
Everyone wants to know.
Scene was dead anyway. Sandbar's reopening.
Yeah, put that as the title. Of
We're
this.
going to steal that story.
Yeah.
Blue.
All right, thank you guys. Have a lovely evening. Rest of your evening.
Yeah, you too.
thank you
And
so
no,
much.
thank you so much for doing this, Rick. Like,
No,
honestly,
thank you.
Hopefully, it's just going to be another way for people to learn more about MUKA and it's like an informative podcast, I suppose, as well.
Yeah. You as well, and like, it's just, I don't know, it made me feel really proud and happy to have you ask this of us.
Thank you.
And
Thank you.
I'm very appreciative.
Awesome. All right, guys. Have a good night.
Bye.
You too.
See you. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Thank you for listening and thank you for watching. I just want to say a big thanks to my guests today, Evan, Imogen, Connor and Hannah. This is my first group style interview, so I was pretty nervous at the beginning, I'll admit, but they made me feel really relaxed and they're just a really lovely bunch of people, and there was a lot of laughs. I think the main thing that came through for me was the energy and drive, to make MUKA really happen. It's still in its early stages as we discussed. But I feel like, these people they give me hope, because after the last general election, I just gave up, really. It felt like all the work that Corbyn had done, had just been shat on, really. So what I do feel that came out of all of that, really, I can only think of the only positive, was that it engaged a lot of young people in politics and activism. So I think that was a big positive that came out of that. And these guys, MUKA, I feel like they're a perfect kind of example of that. And they're not just connecting other creatives and pooling all these resources. No, it's not just about that. We talked about activism, that's the part of it. It's like, through the arts, through the creative realms, we can make change. We can do it, and they do give me hope after everything that's happened in the last couple of years. So I'm going to be, I'm going to be supporting them 100% of the way, in whatever direction it goes. They've got a great team there, a great bunch of people. I felt like the morale in the room was really high, and everybody's on board with it. Everybody's singing from the same hymn sheet. And this is also part of what my podcast is about. It's not just about music. It's about the community and the scene. The DIY culture. Bringing us together to create something that can make a change on a societal and political level. Through our music. Like a lot of this kind of music that I played and what I listen to, it feels like it's an act of defiance. Yes, we feel like sometimes we can't make changes. We're not politicians, but we can make our voices heard through our music, our art, whatever it is, whatever our creative output is. We can use that as a tool to make change. And maybe I'm an idealist, maybe it's it's all just a waste of time, but I feel that's also a big part of what my podcast is about, and the DIY culture, the DIY ethics is, it's a movement as well. It's not just about the music. It's bringing, people together and strengthening the common goal of making some real changes in our society and the world. So yeah, that's my speech. So thank you to Evan, Imogen, Connor and Hannah. The plan is hopefully is to do another episode and get the whole team on the show, so that would be interesting. I've got ideas about setting something up in this house, some like little makeshift studio, and inviting them over, have a cup of tea, record an episode. That would be amazing. So you can find MUKA on Instagram, and also they've got a website. I'll link all that in the description. If you're watching on YouTube, please could you like and subscribe to my channel to help the podcast grow. If you're listening on Apple iTunes, please could you leave a review under the ratings and review section. You can also find me on Facebook. That's facebook.com/The Scene Was Dead Anyway. You can also find me on Instagram. Instagram.com/The Scene Was Dead Anyway. I'm also on Twitter. Twitter.com/TSWDA. Next up on the show is Thomas House. He was in a band called Charlottefield, who are like one of my favourite bands of all time. I've talked a lot about them recently, and they were a huge, massive inspiration to me. Music I created. But his main project is called Sweet Williams. So yeah, he's going to be coming on the podcast this week, and hopefully we'll talk all about Charlottefield, all about Sweet Williams, and so really looking forward to that one. Thank you for listening, and thank you for watching. I'm your host, Rick Walland, and you were listening to The Scene Was Dead Anyway.